Hi. I want to talk to you about something very precious to my heart, and that is weird stuff and why I love it. It was so great at Open Daycare today. I got to connect with a dad there who, when I asked what kind of stuff he liked to listen to, he said he liked podcasts of creepy things. And I was like, oh, did we just become best friends? And there was this other dad in the room too who was just curious, because I was like, so have you heard of glitches in the Matrix? What about near-death experiences? And he's like, well, I'm familiar with the phenomena, but I don't really know. And I was like, that was me info dumping things of things that I've watched and stories I've heard. I thanked him later for letting me ramble on, and he was like, no, it's cool to hear other perspectives. And I was like, yeah, we do get into our bubbles sometimes. And he's like, yeah, so true. So I thought it would be fun to make a video about why I love things like this. Near-death experiences, impressions of the alien and the fae, the fair folk, and defining fae and interdimensional beings as far as my limited perspective. Let's talk about evil. Is it real? My experiences of performing and how that kind of relates to the expression of evil. Let's see, what else do I have in my notes? Being authentic about my love of the weird. Yeah, why not? Why the stinking heck not? People who know me already know that I love weird stuff. Impressions. I'm just going down the list of the notes that I wrote because when I got the idea to do this video. So first, why I love NDEs, near-death experiences. I love it because it's so freaking fascinating how no matter what facet of life people come from, people who grew up on the streets to people who are brain surgeons, they have a near-death experience where they nearly die, they die, their heart just stops for minutes, sometimes even into half an hour's length of time, and then they come back and they have a story to tell. They are changed forever. They're no longer afraid of dying because they have been there. And the biggest problem that people tend to have from that is that they don't want to come back to this life because the experience they had over there was so beautiful. The experience they have and it's so across the board how common these different experiences are. I mean, often they line up with people's religious beliefs. Often they don't, though. Often people completely walk away from any religion because they're like, nope, it did not match up to what I saw and felt there. It was all love, all acceptance, a sense of being home, a sense of belonging. Sometimes people see family members who have passed. Sometimes they see other kinds of creatures. But there's often a sense of we know each other. We've known each other for a long time. People have a sense of feeling like they know everything and all the knowledge that ever was is just available. If they have a question, it will be answered, and the question comes to mind, they'll be able to answer it. They'll just know things. Another thing I think is really, really cool is how so often, basically across the board, people come back with some kind of psychic ability. I had a lady on my podcast who was I actually reached out to her from when she was on Next Level Soul podcast, which is a big deal pod that gets serious views. I reached out to her because I just thought her story was so cool. I reached out to a few people from that have been on big podcasts, and a few of them have gotten back to me. But this lady, her third eye was busted wide, all open. She was hearing people's thoughts. coming back. It was intense for her. It was too much. So I love them because it's just like, wow, this peek into the beyond. This like, there's nothing to be afraid of with death, because none of the fear or judgment that we've been told is going to happen is really there. Now, there are some experiences that do go into the dark, but nobody comes back with a sense of there is an eternal conscious torment. Like, there's some darkness in that people have experienced in having this thing called a life review, which is not across the board either, but a lot of people have a life review where they look back through the different parts of their life and relive it, and sometimes they relive it from the point of view of the person that they hurt. So they get to experience like how their idle word hurt them in that way because of all the things connected to it in the other person's mind. Am I making any sense? I feel like I am just going blah. But how my opinion and feeling about hell has changed in that sense is that if people are expecting a punishment, they are going to get it. But it's kind of like, hell is locked from the inside. You forgive yourself, you move on. You can move on to the next phase of existence, however that existence looks. I mean, some people have such cool stories of like flying around and going to different planets and having families over there and being like a mermaid in a water planet and having a mermaid family. Like, come on, why wouldn't I be obsessed with that? Mermaids. I want to see a mermaid, a nice mermaid. I don't want to be like, drowned. But I think mermaids are kind of like humans in that there's good ones and bad ones. There's not earthlings, they're good folks. I think for the most part, earthlings are good, generally speaking, and it's our conditioning that makes us poopy pants, that makes people like become part of ice and whatnot. And so there's a lot of healing that needs to happen beyond getting out of the echo chamber and stuff. But okay, since I went to mermaids, I can go on to the next section of impressions of alien and fae, because I would kind of consider mermaids like in there with fae. They're like, obviously not human, but not necessarily supernatural. Like, I think fae are beings that were on Earth first. And like, you look at the lore of different countries, like it was so natural for people to believe in fairies in Great Britain and in that part of the world. Like, it was just natural. You left offerings out for them. Like, everybody just knew that they existed, and then they just got pushed aside, and industrialism just took over. There's some really great podcasts I can recommend. One that comes to mind right now is not coming to mind. I'll try to put them on the screen or put them in the description. But there are some really great ones where people have shared seeing things that are not human, seeing tiny little wrinkly green men, seeing fairies. Oh man, how awesome would it be to see something? But okay, here we go. Please put in the comments, how crazy do you think Kate is? Because I would love to know. So I think there are interdimensional beings. which means beings that exist in our natural world and exist in other worlds. So I think Bigfoot is one of them. I think that there are like portals. I love the word portal. I think there's thin places that they can come between, and they can be here and they can be there. And I think that Sasquatches, whatever, are like people, like mermaids. Like there's good and bad. But with like Fae, with good and bad, it doesn't work on the same system as with humans. Like we don't know what their bad is. We don't know how to make them happy or sad. I mean, I think like leaving like honey and cream and stuff out is good. But I think that there's like rules that are really intimidating about it. Like I wouldn't want to leave an offering out, because what if they got mad if I didn't do it every day? I can't commit to an offering every day situation. I would forget, man. And then having these fairies mad at me and stealing my stuff. No, thank you. Interdimensional. Oh, yeah. So, like, with interdimensional, I think that, like, ghosts and time travel could fit into that. I'm such a weirdo. And I embrace it. I embrace me and my weirdo-ness. So I think sometimes what people might think is a ghost is actually like an interdimensional rift. I love the word rift. So like sometimes situations will just like play out over and over again, and it's like a tape being played, and it's not an actual ghost that's like a conscious being. It's like the echo of a circumstance that happened. Maybe a super mundane circumstance, maybe a super heavy, painful one. And there's like, I don't know if there's any rhyme or reason as to why an echo or a rift thing kind of happens, that people will see these things play out regularly. I would love to hear any and every theory in the comments, because I love to hear people's experiences. What I do, I'm getting comfortable. I love to just hear people's stories and just believe them. Like, it doesn't cost anything. Like, I'm not saying I'm going to take everything to heart and make it my guide to life and who I am, but it's just much more fun to believe in magic, man. Why doesn't everybody want to believe in magic? I mean, okay, when I was in the Christian world, that's evil. Everything's evil. It's only angels and demons. That's so boring, man. No, thank you. No, thank you. But if you're not like weighed down with not being able or allowed to believe in magic because of all this fear and stuff, why not just let magic in? Anything else to say about Fae? I think they're like guardians of nature, perhaps. And there's just so many cool stories. I've heard stories of people that like didn't have any clue how to do a certain kind of gardening thing, but it needed to be done, and suddenly they were just like in a zone. They were just like doing it. They just knew how to do it. It was like the fairies were helping them and guiding them. And crop circles. Okay, crop circles. Fascinating stuff, right? The people, even the ones that have been done by people, and it's not like, oh, they were lying and they were pretending like they were aliens trying to trick people into thinking aliens did it, but it was really people. Like, no. When people have done it, it's super mystical in a lot of cases, where they like just get this image in their head and they can't get it out, and they're driven, they're motivated, they need to go to the cornfield, they need to get this image out of their head and onto the field. That's supernatural, mystical, something. That's something different. That's wow. And how cool it is that like so many electronics don't work in crop circles and batteries deplete and these things happen. Like, what is up with that? Weird stuff. Will I edit this, or will I just let this be this? Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Is evil real? How long have I been recording? 15 minutes. Oh, I gotta be out of here soon. Let's dive into evil in the next video, kids. Let me know what you think. Love you. Hugs. Stay weird. And I'm gonna go now.